Hey guys, my name is Joshua Hernandez, and today I'm going to be introducing Project Sunny. Project Sunny is a project where I'm going to be building a smart display ticker, or SDT for short. The goal is to create a fully customizable display that can show things like sports scores, calendars, time and date, notifications, and eventually smart home integrations. If you haven't seen these before, smart display tickers are basically programmable LED displays that can show real-time information. Some can show weather, some others can show stocks, and some can show really cool animations. What I really like about them is that they're always on, they're very minimal and clean, they can show some useful information, and they look really good on a desk. But after looking into buying one, I started to notice some problems. First of all, a lot of them are either very expensive or they're locked behind their own software ecosystems. Second, many of them aren't very customizable unless you pay for subscriptions. And third, as someone who likes to build things, I just didn't want to buy one. I actually wanted to understand how they work. So that's why I wanted to start Project Sunny. Now let's talk about what I'll actually be using to build Project Sunny. For this project, I picked up an RGB matrix starter kit. I'll leave a link in the description if anyone wants to check it out. At the center of everything is the matrix portal, which is basically the brain of our system. This controls the display and runs the code that tells everything what to do. It also includes an ESP32 Wi-Fi coprocessor, which allows the display to connect to the internet. This is what will eventually let me pull things like sports scores, time, weather, or any other API data. Then we have the 64x32 RGB LED matrix, which is the actual display. This has over 2,000 LEDs, and this is what will show us all the information in the animations. It also comes with a diffusion acrylic panel, which just helps soften the LEDs so the light looks more even and less harsh. And finally, a 5-volt power supply to actually run everything. So overall, this gives me the hardware foundation. Now, the real challenge is going to be learning how to program it, connect it to data sources, and slowly turn it into the smart display system I have in mind. Now, let's actually talk about what I'll actually be coding this in. For Project Sunny, I'm planning to mainly use C and C++. The reason I chose these is because they're very close to the hardware, which gives you a lot more control over performance and how the device actually behaves. Since this is an embedded system and not just some normal computer program, efficiency actually matters. Using C and C++ lets me control memory better, controlling timing better, and really understand what's happening under the hood, instead of just relying on high-level tools. Another reason for these languages is because I just want to challenge myself. I could probably do parts of this in something easier like Python, but I really want this project to help me grow as a programmer and get more comfortable with lower level programming. I'll also be learning how to work with microcontroller libraries, hardware communication, Wi-Fi communication, and possibly some APIs later on. So this is definitely going to be a learning experience, and I expect to run into a lot of problems along the way, which is kind of the whole point of this devlog. One of the main reasons I wanted to make this devlog is because I think it's really valuable as a programmer to actually show your progress, not just show your finished products. Most of the time you only see the polished product, but you don't see the bugs, the confusion, the redesigns, or the moments you get completely stuck, and that's where the real learning happens. I honestly don't think this project is going to be easy at all. I know I'm going to get stuck, and probably multiple times there will definitely be parts where I don't understand anything at all. I also don't know how frequently I'll be posting these videos, since this depends on how much progress I make, but I do want to document all the major milestones, big problems, design decisions, and breakthroughs along the whole way. The goal is just not to build Project Sunny, but to document the whole entire process of figuring it out. So that's Project Sunny, a project where I'm going to be building my own smart display ticker from scratch, learning embedded programming with C and C++, and documenting the whole entire process along the way. In the next devlog, I'll probably get started by just getting the display running, setting up the development environment, and hopefully getting some basic output working. If you're interested in embedded systems, hardware projects, or just watching somebody figure things out step by step, feel free to follow along. And with that, welcome to Project Sunny.